So I saw this video today. It's from Pat McAfee's show. And the title of it is, Are the Bengals still a Super Bowl contender in 2024? And listen, when I see titles like that, my first instinct is, oh Lord. Because we've seen this offseason where, the whole drama and crap around, well, Jamar Chase needs a contract. He's not going to play for the Bengals. T. Higgins needs a contract. He's not going to play. And how, LaShawn McCoy and the Speak went a whole rant about how because T. Higgins doesn't have a contract, he's not going to play for the Bengals. And it's going to be a mess. And Joe Burrow's going to fall apart. And this whole offense is going to go to crap because we don't have these guys under contract. And Trey Hendrickson is unhappy. Blah, 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 blah. It ended up being that T. Higgins just signed his franchise tag. And he's under contract now for this upcoming season. Jamar Chase went to minicamp. Everything's fine there. And now everything looks perfect. Now, I will give Pat and the guys here. They are very usually pro Bengals, so I give them props for this one. So going into the, I knew a little bit that, hey, listen, this would probably be a little bit more pro. Plus, of course, we got Pac-Man Jones on the show, which, listen, Pac-Man, that's our boy right there. We got AJ Hawk, used to be a middle linebacker for us. So there is some, positivity toward that. And Pat, I love Pat, but he does very much cater to any quarterback who is at the top of the game. Like, if he talks about Lamar, he will overhype Lamar Jackson. I think he correctly hypes Joe Burrow. He overhypes Patrick Mahomes. Like, this is just how Pat does his show. He's very, whenever he talks about someone, it's never negative. It's always very much positive. Everyone else on this show is kind of like the counter to that. But let's just go ahead and listen up, give my thoughts and opinions on what Pat has to say.
Everything happening with the Cincinnati Bengals, AJ, it legitimately feels like their team is tight. That T. Higgins thing could have potentially been a situation. Jamar Chase not getting paid yet could potentially be a situation. Joey Burrow obviously misses some OTAs, coming back with a wrist injury, could be a situation. Instead, it's complete opposite. I have nothing but faith in this Cincinnati Bengals team going into this year. Do you feel the exact same way? And have you seen Joey Burrow over at Paris Fashion Week beating the shit out of people in chess? I like that there's a big, dumb American football player cooking people in Paris in chess.
And listen, okay. Joe Burrow is a very smart person. I don't think a lot of people realize how smart he is outside of just football. Yes, he's amazing at football, but he's also really freaking amazing when it comes to his brains. And that's why he's also so good at football. I mean, part of football is logic. Part of football is the football knowledge, and it is the ability to actually be able to, outthink your opponent pretty much, right? So seeing him absolutely destroy people in chess is really not surprising at all. But I do say, overall wise, I think it was never a problem with the T. Higgins situation, Jamar Chase, Trey Hendrickson, Joe Burrow coming back from injury. That was never a problem. It was just overhyped by the media. The media just made a story out of it that wasn't there. And people ran with that story and act like the whole thing was a mess.
Yes, the consummate, sophisticated game, whatever it is.
Yeah, this is cool to see, but you're right. When you have contract situations, especially with receivers, like a lot of times it'll end up okay, but it'll turn nasty for a little bit. And I've never sensed anything of that with the Bengals and Jamar and T. Higgins and everything. Everyone seems to understand where they're at, and they probably feel like, hey, this is our year. Let's go win a Super Bowl right now. This is our time.
I think
it's also, and I've said many times, it's a culture we build, right? It's the way we go about business. And even though there's been some drama a little bit with T this offseason, he hasn't been vocal about he hasn't been vocal like other receivers would be in his position. Like Brandon Ayuk is talking to Jaden Daniels about how the 49ers don't want him because of the fact he's not getting the money he wants. T hasn't been like that, and Chase hasn't been at all like that, and we haven't heard anything from Chase when it comes to negotiation talk. Show was never like that either, because that's the culture we build in Cincinnati. We build this culture of, listen, we're not going to go out there and make a media storm. We're not going to go out there and make drama happen and make everyone, start talking about us, because we don't want you to talk about us. We want to show you why we're good. We want to be the underdog. Underrate us, underestimate us, and see how that works in the end. And, the media, I think they see that and they want to try to take us and bring us into drama. They want to create these storylines, maybe upset T. Higgins, make him talk more so they can talk about it. And they try to drag us in this, and it doesn't work. It never works. They drag us into crap and we just laugh and ignore it. And that's what I will say. And to, Pat's point, we are locked up in a unit here because we don't listen to the outside noise. People talk their talk and we just walk our walk.
I think it's because of his leadership too. I think Joey Burrow, great leader. I think he is a phenomenal leader. You see, obviously, what happens at LSU whenever he gets there as a transfer out of Ohio State when he couldn't get on the field, and then he gets to Cincinnati, and everybody kind of knows he's the guy. He takes his hits, he takes his lumps. Everybody loves him. He seemingly never says anything dumb.
No.
Like ever. In any situation, he is the perfect guy to be the Cincinnati Bengals quarterback, which leads us to this, Pac-Man Jones, who obviously lives in a city very close to the Bengals. Is it Super Bowl or bust? Is that what everybody's thinking?
Of course it's
Super Bowl or bust.
It is Super Bowl or bust.
Doesn't that suck right now? Because Patrick...
Here's what I'll say, right? And he's going to go into the whole Patrick Mahomes is, in the NFL, so it sucks that you had to say Super Bowl or bust. No. Because we have accomplished, as the Bengals here, everything you would want to accomplish outside of winning a Super Bowl in the last couple years. We got to back-to-back championships. One of them leading us to a Super Bowl. One of them leading us to beating Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl. In the championship. And then a phantom holding call stopping us from winning a Super Bowl. And randomly, things happening in that Super Bowl that shouldn't have happened. We have accomplished everything we would want to accomplish outside of winning a Super Bowl. The only thing we can accomplish next is two things. One, Joe Burrow gets MVP, which in reality is just a popularity contest, and it's just going to be given to the most popular player in the NFL, like always, which is Mahomes. And number two is win a Super Bowl. So, to say Super Bowl bust, absolutely. Because if you go to a playoffs and you win the wild card and you lose in the divisional, we've already done that. Well, not like losing the division, but we've already won one playoff game. Well, go there and win 2 playoff games. We've already done that as well. Go there and win 3 playoff games. Well, we've already done that as well. The Ravens this year, they got to the, they won the wild card. They got a bye week. So they won the divisional, which they have not done since 2012? And no, I think it was 2013 and 14. They haven't won a divisional. And then they got to the championship. That's the first time they've been to the championship since 2012. So at the end of the day, they accomplished, it wasn't Super Bowl bust because they got farther than they got in 10, 12 years. We have been there a couple years ago. So at the end of the day, it is Super Bowl bust because we want to accomplish something we haven't accomplished yet, which is win the Super Bowl, get the Lombardi, and bring it to the Queen City.
Mahomes is in the AFC East and in the AFC, and then every other team.
My guy, Mahomes is in the AFC East. If Mahomes is in the AFC East, I would love that. Honestly, I agree. You know what? No, Pat, you are right. We should put him in the AFC East. Him playing Josh Allen twice a year, every year, would be absolutely hilarious. He would also have a division that's actually tough for him to play in. But still, yeah, he is in the AFC.
It's in the AFC. It's stacked. This is not a good time to be Super Bowl or bust in the AFC.
Super Bowl or bust because we...
See, I'm going to completely go against his point there. I think I love Pat, but that's a stupid take. That's an absolute stupid take. How is it not a good time to be Super Bowl bust in the AFC? The AFC is weaker than we probably ever saw it in the history of the AFC. Yes, it's more stronger than the NFC, although I will say the Lions have really come up the last year. But the AFC is the weakest it has ever been. If anything, this is right now is the best time to be Super Bowl bust in any time in history of football. I mean, you had 15 years of a success of the New England Patriots where they were unstoppable, right? And no one could beat them. You had the Steelers with Big Ben, which was absolutely domination. Joe Flacco led the Ravens for a little bit of time. This is the best time possible because outside of our division, the AFC North, obviously Pittsburgh right now is in a quarterback situation they're going to figure out. Cleveland, I don't know if Deshaun Watson's the guy or not, but they'll figure that out. They're kind of in between. 2 of our 4 teams in our division right now are kind of trying to figure out the quarterback situation. And while, yes, Lamar is a good quarterback, outside of the Ravens, Chiefs, that's really, and Texans, I'll say, those are the only 3 teams that really stops the Bengals from winning a Super Bowl. And if that's the case, then this is the best time possible because eventually there's going to get to a point where all these AFC teams are going to be competent enough or tough enough to play. I'm not scared of anyone in the AFC South outside of Texans. I'm not scared of anyone in the AFC West outside the Chiefs. I'm not scared of anyone in the AFC East. I'm not scared. And then again, the AFC North is always tough because, division, but the Ravens are really the biggest competitor. This is the best time possible to be a Super Bowl bust team because the NFC is very beatable. The AFC is very winnable. So I disagree with this. I think this is a situation where we are in the best time possible to go win a Super Bowl. We have the best team, the best quarterback, and we also have the best situation.
We the only one have Patrick Mahomes' number. Joe the only one beat him 2 times at home. So if we can stay healthy, I think we'll be really good on the back end. We're getting Geno from Baltimore. With Luke calling the defense. I think we'll be really good if we can stay healthy. If we stay healthy, we should make it at least to the championship or the Super Bowl.
Isn't that wild? Nobody else really outside of Cincinnati is talking about Cincinnati being Super Bowl or bust. Wow. But it is a legitimate feel. It is, and it makes sense why they would feel that way. Just a few years back, they're in there. And if Aaron Donald isn't Aaron Donald, there's a chance Joe hits Chase on that.
Yeah.
And the Cincinnati wins the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And the Los Angeles Rams do not. It's wild to think that we're not that far removed from that entire thing.
Well, in there, I feel like.
And I will say, to Pac's point of view there, he is right. We are the only one to go against, or have Patrick Mahomes' number. And at the end of the day, every game is a separate entity. So it's like, obviously the past is the past, the future, future. But yeah, I feel confident that we can go in to anyone's house, either KC, either Baltimore, or again, either Houston, and be able to win and get through the playoffs and win a Super Bowl. I think, honestly, the toughest one is Baltimore, and it's just because of the fact it's the division, and they have our number. And that's why, again, KC really is not as scary as Baltimore to me. When it comes down to, having our number, knowing what we do, and being very successful against us. And also, they're an AFC North team, so they're really good at traveling in the cold weather. They're good at traveling, throughout the playoffs, and they're a very scary team. Baltimore, honestly, is the scariest team in my opinion. I think anyone else is. Houston is scary, but I don't know how well Stroud's going to play in cold weather if he has to come up here in Cincinnati in freezing cold weather. I know Lamar can play in freezing cold weather. I know the Baltimore Ravens can play in freezing cold weather. I don't know about KC can, because they had that game against the Dolphins last year. But yeah. So I'd still say Baltimore, though, because of the AFC North thing.
There are teams that are realistic about it. That is a realistic expectation. Then there are other teams like the Buffalo Bills where you want to be a Super Bowl team, but you can't go that far. But you could probably throw Houston in there now, too, because of what Houston's done. Houston, even though it's only D'Amico's second year and CJ's second year, I'm assuming they're Super Bowl or bust, especially with the moves they made. They got Joe
Real
Mixon.
quick, in locker room, always Super Bowl or bust.
For sure.
Joe Thomas even mentioned after he retired for the Browns, every year that he went into the season, even the years where they went winless, he thought they had a chance to win a Super Bowl. Players have to. Nick.
Got a point.
Players have to have that belief. Now, there's a few weeks.
And to his point of like, well, no one outside of Cincinnati, everyone is saying that, we won't go to the Super Bowl. We're not talking about it. Again, this is just because the media hates us. The media hates us. They trash us. They treat us like we're absolutely worth nothing and like we're a dumpster fire organization. And you know what? Let them keep doing that. And again, they can, talk all the trash they want. I say it all the time. I make videos and I keep receipts. We're keeping receipts because when we win the Super Bowl, we're going to be talking about a video. I'm going to have I'm probably going to have a live stream, in all honesty, of every single crap that the media said about us once we win the Super Bowl. Because at the end of the day, they say it all the time. So I'm not surprised, to Pat's point here, that the rest of the league isn't talking about us. And you know what? Let them forget about us. Because that's when we're the most deadly. So the rest of this video, he just kind of talks about how, the Bengals were for the longest time in a kind of a dumpster fire and they weren't really going anywhere. And obviously the 90s were very rough. And then the 2000s, Achilles Smith was supposed to be the kind of change of that. Didn't end up working out. We go to Kitna, then we go to Carson Palmer in 2003. And then obviously after that, Andy Dalton and now Joe Burrow. But overall wise, yeah, I agree it's Super Bowl bust. But that's because of what we have accomplished. And it just, that's just what it is. So we're going to have a great season, guys. It's going to be a fantastic season. And get ready, media. You're going to have to cover us. Peace out, guys.